man, oh man, rocking and rolling over here at Crazy Ant Media. We don't have a guest this week, but we do have some important news to tell you.
Yes.
You know that film that we're doing, The Lesson Plan? Oh boy, oh boy. Well, we have decided to launch a new crowdfunding initiative, I guess you could say. We're going with Indiegogo now instead of Kickstarter because, get this, guys, we had amazing success on our first crowdfunding with Kickstarter, but now, like, all of these bots are coming at us and making fake donations and messaging us all the freaking time about, well, if you pay us this much, we can donate this much. And we're just like, okay, let's go in a different direction. So we just wanted to give you guys an update on that.
Yeah, man, for sure. It was really annoying because we couldn't keep track of actual donations because we just were getting blitzed so much. And it wasn't just messages through Kickstarter. It was coming to the emails. It was coming like everywhere. It was making it hard to focus on what we needed to focus on. So we just felt like we had to make this move. The one thing I want to reiterate to everybody that did donate, genuinely donated, not the bots, you will not be charged. You should have received an email saying that the campaign has been canceled. We would greatly appreciate it if you jump on over to Indiegogo and make that donation again. That'd be awesome. But you will not be charged if you did one towards Kickstarter. So I just wanted to throw that out there too. And we thank you. We appreciate the patience and things happen, guys, but we got to keep this thing legit because we got to, you know how we are. We're making this movie. It's all got to be legit. We can't have any bots, man. It's just bots.
Can't do it. That's for sure. But we're super excited about everything that's going on. We had some amazing crew interviews the past 2 weeks, and man, oh man, we're super excited about the next phase of this process.
Yes.
But boy, oh boy, be sure to follow the LP Film on Instagram and Threads so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on with our film. But we're super excited about this week's show. So let's get a little into it. Hello, everyone. So you want to start a podcast but have no idea where to start? Well, Crazy Ant Media is here to help you. We want to assist you finding your VFE. What's VFE, you ask? Well, that is your voice, your format, and your equipment. These are the 3 biggest essentials you need to start your podcast. All those hours watching non-stop YouTube videos or all those random website links, those are done. Just hop on a Zoom call with us and we'll talk about everything you need to know to create your own podcast and find your voice. Plus, we will send you home with a 12-page packet over everything we just discussed. It's very in-depth. It is definitely a must-need while trying to start your first podcast. Contact us at info@crazyantmedia.com today so that you can start finding your podcast voice for tomorrow. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness, episode 262 of ITCAFpodcast, and you guys know your host with the most, myself, J-Lo Fantastic, and the one and only Mao.
What's up?
Boy, oh boy, it's gonna be a great freaking show. We're super excited about it. You know where to get all of the latest and greatest industry news right here at ITCAFpodcast.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And before teasing the rest of the show, of course, we have to say, be sure to leave a rating on this podcast because if you comment below and tell people what you actually think about the show, it actually helps this podcast get seen by more people who enjoy entertainment news, but especially those who are breaking into the entertainment industry. Us here at Crazy Ant Media are all about lending the helping hand, so please be sure to lend the helping hand to us and just tell your friends about us. That's it. That's it.
That's right.
But we're super excited about everything going on in Hollywood this past week. Man, oh man, there's like a lot. There was a sad death that we will be discussing at the very top. But, I mean, we did not expect Inside Out to do the numbers that it did. And we're going to get into all the nitty gritty of that. We're going to be talking about Kevin Costner. I'm sure he's been blowing up on everybody's feeds talking about his process with Yellowstone and being off a year and blah, blah, blah. We're going to get into all the nitty gritty of that too. And did you watch House of the Dragon? Well, we're going to be talking about those numbers.
Some people did.
Another spinoff that's coming at you. We're super freaking excited about it. But before heading into this show, be sure to head over to our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We got the shirts, we got the hats, we have anything and everything that you need for your merchandise needs. That's right. Oh my goodness. And you have to be sure to follow us at ITCAFpodcast, Crazy Ant Media, or our mental health podcast, Everything's OKP, to know when we have promotional sales on this merch, because we want you to save some money. We are in a crazy time right now, prices being sky high, so everybody needs to save that money, at least a little bit.
That's right.
A little bit.
That's right.
But like I teased at the very beginning, this one sucks. It really does. Because
wait, before we start with sad news, I just want to throw this out there. On this night that we're recording, my mother is celebrating her 79th birthday, y'all. 79 years young. I want to give a happy birthday shout out to her. She's killing it, y'all. She's still kicking. She's still just like crazy hard working and just she won't slow down. She won't slow down. Happy birthday, Mom. It was a fun day with you. I hope you're enjoying it. Eat a cupcake while I'm doing this show. Anyway, happy birthday, Mom. All right, now that we had some happy, let's we got to go down.
Yes, I'm sure everybody has seen this past week. Donald Sutherland passed away.
Yes.
The tall, the lean, and long-faced Canadian actor who became a countercultural icon with such films like The Dirty Dozen, MASH, Clute, and Don't Look Now, and who subsequently enjoyed a prolific and wide-ranging career in films including Ordinary People, Without Limits, and the Hunger Games films. He died Thursday in Miami after a long illness, his agency, CAA, confirmed. As he was 88, Sutherland is survived by his wife, Francine, his sons, Rug, Rosiv, Angus, and Kiefer, a daughter, Rachel, and his 4 grandchildren. And I mean, this guy, he would pop up in everything throughout so many years. So it really is a huge loss to the entertainment industry, the world, his family. So, we want to send our condolences and thoughts and prayers to his family and his loved ones.
Without doubt. And just the outpour and just words coming from so many signify just how gracious and how wonderful this man was, that the community he was so beloved in. And Kiefer gave a great statement. And I'm so glad they got to work together finally in a film together, right? Because that's the one thing he always wanted to do, is work with his dad, and they got to do that. So this is a big loss, man. I'm old enough to remember him from a lot of the early stuff. Ordinary People. Just missed MASH. I remember the show MASH, but I did watch the film MASH later on. Just classic, and just man. Yeah, it's just woo. You hate to start off with news like that, but when you can't not talk about a legend who passes, because it is. All right.
Yeah.
Now we're going to jump over to what nobody saw coming, I don't think. We were hoping for a resurgence at the box office. We're like, Bad Boys, the latest one did really well. We're like, is it? Sort of? Kind of? But nobody, I think, expected the numbers coming out of this one. Disney and Pixar's expressive animated sequel, Inside Out 2, scored, are you guys ready for this? $154 million in its first weekend of release. That overtook Dune Part 2, that opened at $82.5 million. Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire, that opened at $80 million. And it is now the biggest opening of the year. It's also the first movie since last July's Barbie, with $162 million, to debut above $100 million at the box office. The second Inside Out 2 also connected at the international box office, making another $140 million. Enough to surpass, are you ready for this? Frozen 2, which was only $135 million, and is now the biggest overseas animating opening of all time. turns out was especially strong in the Latin America community, where it landed the second biggest opening of all time behind Disney's Marvel epic Avengers Endgame. Now, globally, the movie's grossed $295 million as of that opening weekend. It's set to and might have already, at the time of this recording, passed $500 million. It's just rocking, y'all. And it only carried a $200 million production budget, but it's gonna surpass that and make its money back, no doubt about it. Now, the Pixar sequel also had a very happy day with Juneteenth box office. I can't believe this one. A record Juneteenth box office, $30 million. That's the third highest grossing non-opening Wednesday of all time behind Star Wars The Force Awakens and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. It's the 12th highest grossing Wednesday overall and the highest grossing non-opening animated Wednesday in domestic history. So my point is, it's racking up a lot of money and breaking a lot of records. What I also like, which is really happy news for Disney, did you hear all those things with the exception of Barbie? Every other film that I named is Disney owned. All the ones that the records were falling from were all Disney films. So they don't care. They're just racking up, man. They're just racking up.
That's for sure. And I mean, in the wake of Inside Out's 2 massive worldwide debut last weekend, Disney's head of global theatrical distribution, Tony Chambers, kicked off the studio's Cine Europe presentation this week, thanking exhibitors in attendance for their part in that historical start, and was met in kind by enthusiastic and clearly appreciative applause. This was ahead of the jam-packed session that included looks at such anticipated titles like Marvel's Deadpool & Wolverine, Captain America Brave New World, and The Thunderbolts. Now, 20th Century's Alien Romulus, and more. So there's a lot coming, man, that a lot of people are excited about. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, and he dug right in with Deadpool and Wolverine. The head of marketing for Emma Lee Jury noted that we're just about a month away, y'all, from the 34th Marvel release, calling it a kick-ass feel-good movie. Okay. Star Ryan Reynolds appeared as Deadpool in a typically irreverent video to introduce the 12 minutes of footage. Went down with a treat with the audience, as it did in Barcelona and April CinemaCon back then. From what I understand, it had a lot to do with his gin. And he was telling people to get basically fucked up while they're watching it, kind of. I mean, yeah, it's Deadpool. It's gonna be that kind of stuff. But I hope that all this stuff that we talk about with Cinema Europe, we get to see. Normally, they do release it at some point down the line. So the stuff we're hearing, I want to see it. But anyway, yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine, smart to start off with that.
For sure. And I mean, more exciting Marvel news. They just keep stepping out of the box. This next one with a political thriller genre, Captain America Brave New World. Now, of course, that one's starring Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford and set for February of 2025 release. But apparently there was whole new footage, guys. We saw a first behind the scenes look at Thunderbolts. The story centers, of course, on a group of misfit villains of the MCU who are given a chance to redeem themselves. It's just wrapped production last week, and I know everybody is super excited about it because, I mean, let's be honest about it. With Blade and this one and a couple of other things, there's been some reshoots with Marvel recently. Yeah. So hopefully there's been some things going in the right direction. So we're excited about it.
I think so. I like the fact that there's reshoots. It says to me that Kevin Feige and Bob Iger are like, no more of this fast shit. It's about quality, not quantity. And if we have to go back and reshoot it to make sure it's where we want it to be, then I'm fine with that. I love that. But it wasn't just all Marvel, y'all. An extended scene from Alien Romulus was introduced by director Fede Alvarez. Now, from the stage, the filmmaker recalled staring at a blank page 3 years ago, faced with the terrifying and thrilling task to bring back to life one of the best sci-fi franchises ever created. He also noted he had taken some advice from previous Alien directors Ridley Scott and James Cameron. The resulting film goes places where the franchise has never gone before. Alien Romulus is set to release mid-August, so not too much longer, y'all. We get to see if indeed he did restart one of the best franchises ever. We'll see. We'll find out.
We'll see. And I mean, are you going to take a friend to the theater? Who knows? Who knows? Because it's not like Thank You for Being a Friend, Golden Girls. But apparently Mid-Century Modern will be a lot like that beloved series.
Oh.
Now, Matt Boomer, and Nathan Lane are set to star in a multi-cam series for Hulu, executive produced by Ryan Murphy and created by Will and Grace's Max Muchnick and David Cohen as well. Now, according to sources, Baumer will take a ditzy Rose-like character played by Betty White in the original Golden Girls, with Lane taking on the Dorothy, B. Arthur, on The Bunch. Now, Linda Lavin will play Lane's mother, for the original Sophia, and the series follows three best friends, a gay gentleman of a certain age who, after an unexpected death, decided to spend their golden years living together in the gay mecca of Palm Springs, where the wealthiest ones live with his mother and the naked Gen Z housekeeper.
Oh.
Now, James Burrows is directing this pilot. So
oh, my goodness.
That sounds interesting.
So this is a male gay Golden Girls. That's what I'm taking away from it. All right. Okay. It's going to be interesting. But James Burrows is brilliant. So, let's all in on this one. We'll see. You know who's also brilliant and just kind of reclaimed, I'm the king of late night now. Forget the rest of y'all. Jimmy Kimmel. He apparently started off his summer with the best ratings his late night show has seen in the last 5 months. During the week of June 3rd, Jimmy Kimmel Live averaged a 0.21 rating amongst the key adult demographic of 18 to 49. This marks the ABC show's highest since the week of January 15th and a 31% increase from the 0.16 rating achieved the previous week. Now, in total viewers, it averaged 1.7 million from June 3rd to June 7th. After 2 weeks of consecutive growth, Jimmy Kimmel Live led the pack, ranking as the #1 late-night talk show of the week in 1849 rating. The highest-rated individual Jimmy Kimmel Live telecast that week aired on June 6th when Kimmel hosted NBA legend Magic Johnson and comedian Joe Coy as guests with a musical performance by Doechii with J.T. So that makes sense. I mean, I love it. I've always thought Jimmy just kind of does his own thing, and he really doesn't care. And I think it's worked for him, and it's good to see him on top. I like that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Most definitely. Well, we're jumping over to the bunny, Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, Warner Brothers did just release an explosive new trailer for the second Joker, Todd Phillips' sequel in his billion-dollar topping 2019 smash hit at the Cine Europe trade show. Now, Warner Brothers didn't reveal when the new trailer would be released publicly, but meanwhile, footage of behind-the-scenes shots from Beetlejuice, the long-awaited sequel to Tim Burton's 1988 cult classic, was also unveiled for the first time. Now, the film, which brings back the one and only Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara, alongside new stars like the one and only Jenna Ortega, Justin Trudeau, and Monica Bellucci, releases in September.
Yes.
I know everybody's got their calendars marked, and of course, this also marks the 10th collaboration between Burton and Warner Brothers. So, do you guys think he has a favorite? Who knows?
A former Disney animator? We won't talk about that. Hey, here's a trailer that was released publicly, and holy shit, y'all. I am so excited about the universe that Matt Reeves is building. Warner Brothers Discovery released a new trailer for The Penguin, which is, of course, the spin-off series focusing on Colin Farrell's titled gangster from the DC's The Batman. Now, set immediately after the events of the blockbuster film. And I'm telling you, when you watch this trailer, you see it's immediately after, because in the trailer, the flood is still, the water's still there from the flood, which is just crazy. But the 8-episode series charts the character once known as Oswald Cobblepot and his rise to power in the Gotham underworld to become one of the most notorious villains in the Batman universe. Now, production actually began on this thing in March of 2023, but it was halted in June due to the Hollywood strikes, with shooting resuming the week after Thanksgiving. Now, also, a sequel to The Batman, titled The Batman Part 2, was delayed a year and now will release in theaters October 2nd of 2026. But we don't have to wait that long for the universe to continue because the Penguin is coming to Max this fall. The trailer, holy shit. This one's going to be good, bro. This one's going to be really good. This isn't a No. This is a scary penguin who you clearly do not want to fuck with. And Colin Farrell is just... Matt Reeves, I like this. It's sad to me that we're going to get another Batman because I think James Gunn should be like, no, this is our Batman right here because fuck, man. Anyway.
Yeah, it is really good. I mean, I love everything that they're doing. And I mean, all the sneak peeks that we've seen have been pretty badass.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But speaking of badass, House of the Dragon returned to Max and HBO this past week with 7.8 million viewers on Sunday night. Now, that is putting the season 2 premiere 22% below the 10 million viewers of that Game of Thrones prequel series launch back in 2022. Now, I think this drop is partially attributed to the decline in linear television viewings. Now, this is also per Nelson's data as well. Now, about 1 million fewer viewers tune in to HBO's cable channel on Sunday than did for the season 1 premiere. Now, despite the decline, according to Warner Bros. Discovery, the episode still led Max to its biggest streaming day ever, both in the US and overall. Now, in the week leading up to the Season 2 premiere, Warner Bros. Discovery recorded the strongest streaming engagement for Season 1 in over 19 months, totaling to 1 million viewers overall. And I mean, I definitely think that's the reason. I mean, you know, not a lot of people are gravitating towards actual HBO anymore and people just bouncing around. So, yeah, I'm super excited about it. It was super good, so I'm excited to see what they do for this season.
No, I totally agree with you. That's exactly why. I mean, there's no other explanation for it. I do have a question, though. Do I need to have watched all of Game of Thrones to watch this? Or can I just kind of... No. I can just kind of... I know it's a sequel, but I don't need to know, right? Like anything about Game of Thrones to just jump in on this one?
Yeah, because it's set like 500 years before the original.
Okay, so it's a prequel. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
cool.
It's super, super easy. And I mean, there's stuff from the original Game of Thrones series that they say about this series. So, I mean, there's little Easter eggs in the original that plays into this one. Okay. But, I mean, you don't need to know that.
Because I'm seeing nothing but great stuff about that, and I kind of want to jump on it. I kind of want to watch it.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
All right. Well, there's going to be another one, which apparently is coming because it's making some movement. Production on HBO's Game of Thrones spin-off series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, has apparently started in Belfast, Ireland. 5 actors are joining the cast, including Finn Bennett, Bertil Carvel, Tamsin Crawford, Daniel Ings, and Sam Spruill. Now, the first season of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms will follow the exploits of the knight Sir Duncan the Tall as his young squire, Egg, roughly 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones and 100 years after the events of House of the Dragon. Now, the full logline for the series is basically this. A century before the events of Game of Thrones, 2 unlikely heroes wandered Westeros. A young, naive, but courageous knight, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his diminutive squire, Egg. Set in an age when the Terrigen line still holds the Iron Throne, and the memory of the last dragon has not yet passed from living memory, great destinies, powerful foes, and dangerous exploits all await these improbable and incomparable friends. Damn. Okay. That sounds intense.
I know, right? I know. I mean, we've heard so many different spin-offs ideas, but I mean, this is the first one that's already in production, so that's very exciting.
Yeah.
And if you are going to start the name is basically exactly how it looks. Targaryen.
Okay. Yeah. All
But
right,
yeah,
fair
I mean
enough.
that's the big family. That's the dragon family for sure. But I'm super excited. I hope you do start it because it's really good. I really love it.
All right.
Well, the Gilded Age has added 4 previous winners and nominees to season 3 of the cast: Felicia Rashad, Brian Stokes, Mitchell, Jordan Danica, and Victoria Clark. To HBO's official logline for this season 3 reads, "The American Gilead Age was a period of immense economic and social change when huge fortunes were made and lost overnight. With the old guard officially deposed, New York society finds itself turned upside down, and all must get their house in order. But even those at the helm of this new era may find that change comes at a cost." Well, that sounds interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does. I haven't jumped on this one, so I don't really know
haven't
anything
either.
about it. But yeah, I mean, maybe we should, because that sounded pretty good. Devin Craig, Ruby Cruz, Michael Provost, and Robbie Attal are now apparently all heading to the class in the upcoming 3rd season of The Sex Lives of College Girls. All 4 will recur as students at Essex College. Max's The Sex Lives of College Girls follows, if you didn't know, 4 college roommates in their first year at New England's prestigious Essex College. Now, season 2 picked up where the students were returning after their fall break, tackling the challenges that were thrown their way at the end of season 1, while also facing their next semester filled with the new faces, parties, and predicaments. Now, returning series regulars for series 3 are apparently Pauline Chalmette, Aya Chanel Scott, Armit Kaur, Christopher Mayer, Leah Paulino, and Renica Williams. As we previously mentioned, though, on a past episode of this very show, Renee Rapp has exited the series as a regular for the upcoming season. She will appear in just a handful of episodes and then depart after those air. So, she's out of there. Just saying.
Boom, 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 man. Well, we're heading over to Paramount, and they have unveiled the first look for the Smile sequel. Now, the follow-up of the 2022 breakout horror hit, in the sequel, out on October 18th, the pop star, Naomi Scott, is driven mad by an evil curse that takes victims in the form of a creepy smile.
Yes.
Parker Finn, writer-director of the first Smile, returns with actor Kyle Gallner, who played police officer Joel in the first one. Now, the film series chronicles an evil, unrelenting demon that drives its victims to suicide by appearing as a series of humans being with a sinister smile plastered across their faces. Now, the first installment concluded with Joel witnessing a horrific death of his ex-girlfriend Rose Cotter after she lights herself on fire due to the mysterious grinning demon. Now, whoever witnesses someone else's death at the hands of the entity becomes the next victim to be driven to suicide, meaning Joel may soon meet his fate.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, it was definitely interesting. I loved the first Smile. I think
did
it was
too.
so different from anything else, so I'm excited for the second.
Yeah, it was hardcore, bro. I watched it, and I probably shouldn't have watched it after a couple of drinks late at night. I was like, fuck, man.
That's different.
I don't think I want to go to bed now. Yeah, a little scary, a little scary. All right, here it is. You've seen it, the back and forth, the contention, Costner, and Taylor Sheridan and Paramount, and what's true, what isn't true, what's going on. Well, we're about to lay out the facts for y'all. Here they are. Yellowstone is now currently in production on its final episodes without Kevin Costner. The show's 5th and final season was, of course, as you know, split into 2 halves. The season's first 8 episodes included Costner and aired, are you ready for this, all the way back in the fall of 2022. Yeah, we've been waiting that fucking long for the end of this thing. The final 6 episodes will start airing on November 10th of this year. Now, while there has been a lot of speculation about Costner's exit from the show ahead of the final episodes, the actor himself has officially hung up his Yellowstone hat, ruling out any return to the long gestating final episodes of the hit series. Costner, who has been on the promotional circuit for the first and second parts of his Western epic Horizon, made his decision known with a video posted on his social media accounts Thursday evening, basically saying that he really wanted to come back. It's a beloved series, it's a beloved role, he thoroughly enjoyed it. but they just couldn't make it work with the scheduling, and he couldn't break it up into two things because of these films. He finally said that. Paramount came out apparently with a statement of their own and said, okay, that's true. We tried and tried, but his schedule just would not allow him to break this up when we needed him to break it up with the rest of the cast, and therefore we said, okay, see you later. We wish him luck with the Western. We hope it's a huge success for him, and we thank him for everything that he did for our series. Blah, 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 blah. So they cleaned it up all tidy, but he ain't coming back, which means to me that everything that we know, they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him because he ain't coming back. So the plot that we all know, spoilers for anybody, that Jamie had about taking out Dad, I think it's going to happen. Beth will fail to save him. I just don't see any other way. I don't see any other way. How can you end Dutton if you don't kill him? I just...
Well, I mean, they played with the health scare stuff early Yellowstone, so maybe it came back and he just randomly dies. Who knows?
Before they could kill him, that would be epic, right? Like, oh.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And, like, does this situation, like, does it taint the entire series? Or at least, I mean, obviously the last season it taints it, but, I mean, does it taint the entire series because it's inevitable, you know what's going to happen, even for people who I feel like, you know, haven't watched Yellowstone before and then want to start now? Like, does it taint it because they know what's going to happen and how it ended?
That's a good point. But like you said, between the health issues and then, you know, all of the back half of season 4 going into that first half of season 5, they sure were hinting that he somehow was not going to survive, right? Like, some way or another. So, is it inevitable? Was that always the plan from Taylor Sheridan, was to kill off John? I don't know, but I would highly recommend, though, if people are interested, do jump on it and watch it, because it is a brilliant show. It's fantastic, and don't let all the drama from Costner and the gang mess you up from watching it, because you're taken away from all of the stellar performances of the rest of the cast that are just amazing, and it's a great show. So I just jump on it, give it a try.
And I mean, also, I feel like, you know, I kind of understand where Costner's coming from. Of
course,
you know, he's just a very stern person, but I mean, he talks about how there was a time period where there was like 14 months of not doing anything, and he loves to work. So with that being said, like, he just didn't like sitting in limbo, which makes sense. Like, I completely understand, but at the same time, like, I from what we heard from Denham Richards, who is a series regular on Yellowstone, he seemed to really take this part into, you know, his day-to-day life. So he really seemed to embody that character. So it's just a shame that it ends this way, at least with his character, because he is the main focal point. But I mean, you know, it is what it is, I guess.
But you just said it. You made the point that I think everybody needs to kind of take away from this. There was that 14-month stretch. Had they done anything in that stretch, it wouldn't have butted up against his film project, which they were aware of. They knew that he was in the process of developing this film series and that he had a contract signed and ready to go with the distributor of, you have to go into production on this date. Yeah. They knew that. So the delay of trying to get anything done inevitably, like Kevin said, ran into the point where I can't do it because now we're too close to when I'm contracted to jump into my film. So I just, it's a great point, and I'm glad you brought it up. But I mean, I hope that, you know, don't throw hate at either side. It just, things like this happen in the industry. It's unfortunate. It sucks for us fans. But I feel like both sides did the right thing. They're going to wrap this thing up okay. There's plenty of spin-offs coming from it. We all love this. So I hope that nobody throws hate one way or the other at somebody, because that's just not going to solve anything or do anything. So anyway.
Completely agree. Well, the Promised Land creator Matt Lopez has joined CBS recently picked up drama series Sheriff Country as executive producer and showrunner. Now, this is a Fire Country spinoff headlined by Morena Baccarin, is slated to debut during the 2025-2026 season.
Yes.
Now, with the writer's room expected to open in late summer, Sheriff Country was introduced when Morena guest starred in an April episode of the Mothership series Fire Country. Now, also like the Fire Country pilot, the Planted spinoff was written by Joan Ratter and Tony Palaine from the story of the co-writers with series star Max Terdo, who real life experience inspired Fire Country. Now, Max also directed the backdoor pilot episode for Sheriff Country, which is pretty freaking cool. Now, of course, this one stars Marina as the straight shooting sheriff Mickey Fox, the stepsister of Cal Fire's division chief, Sharon Leone, who investigates criminal activity as she patrols the streets of the small town of Edgewater. Of course, we'll be jumping on this thing. We love the original, so of course we'll be there.
Yeah, and I loved that episode. I thought that dynamic between
great.
them and the whole family was great. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be good. All right. I got some news for you, buddy. You're the man crush, the OG man crush, all about the hair. Patrick Dempsey himself is turning in the scrubs for another uniform. The actor, best known for his role on Grey's Anatomy, has joined the cast of Dexter, Original Sin, and as a series regular. Now he's set to portray Aaron Spencer, the captain of the Miami Metro Homicide, who has a decades-long relationship with Christian Slater's Harry Morgan. Now this one's set in 1991, 15 years before the events of the original Dexter. The series follows Dexter as he transitions from student to avenging serial killer. Now here's the logline for this bad boy. Are you ready? When his bloodthirsty urges can't be ignored any longer, Dexter must learn to channel his inner darkness. With the guidance of his father, Harry, which is, like I said, played by Christian Slater, he adopts a code designed to help him find and kill people who deserve to be eliminated from society without getting on law enforcement's radar. Now, this is a particular challenge for young Dexter as he begins a forensics internship at the Miami Metro Police Department. I loved Dexter. I thought it was like a refined, if you will, Punisher. It's a very like neat. He isn't hardcore rug and grug but he's basically doing the same thing. You deserve to die, so I'm gonna fucking kill you. So I'm really interested in this one. I think this one's gonna be really good.
Oh, for sure. I mean, maybe this is my House of the Dragon. Maybe I start with this one and then work into that.
Yes, there you go. Perfect.
I know, right? It's so funny. Now, expect to hear some familiar voices on Everybody Still Hates Chris, Comedy Central's upcoming animated take on the hit 2000s live-action comedy Everybody Hates Chris that includes starring and executive producer Chris Rock, who narrated the original series and will do the same thing in the new version. Now, also back to the original stars, Terry Crews and Tichina Arnold, who played Chris's parents in the original series, will voice them in the animated edition. Now, Everybody Still Hates Chris was first announced in August of 2022. CBS Studios and Chris Rock Enterprises and 3 Arts Entertainment are behind the half-hour animated series, which premieres on Comedy Central later this year. It'll be interesting to see who they get to play, the kid version of Chris, because the guy who did it, who is now a well-established actor in his own right, he nailed it. So it'll be interesting to see who they get to play the voice.
Yeah, and it was a no-brainer. All the adult people were going to come back and redo the voices. But you're right. Whoever they pick as the kid is going to be an interesting choice. And it could be an adult. As we know, it could be a grown-ass man playing the kid. Who knows? Let's jump on over to NBC Universal. Apparently, Universal Pictures has acquired feature film rights to James, the latest book from Percival Everett, whose novel Erasure was adapted as American fiction. Now, Steven Spielberg will executive produce the movie through his company Amblin Partners, with Taika Waititi in early talks to direct the project. Now, Everett will write the screenplay and will serve as executive producer. Now, get this sounds interesting. This is what the story is about. It apparently reframes the classic story of Huckleberry Finn from the point of view of Jim, an enslaved man who floats down the Mississippi River with a teenaged Finn, a good friend, of course, of Tom Sawyer. So that's interesting. We're going to see the story from a different perspective, and that might be pretty good.
Yeah, right? Good enough to have Steven Spielberg a part of it.
Exactly.
What the hell? That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, Atomic Monster and Blumhouse are developing Soul Mate, an erotic thriller with technological twist that expands the Megan universe.
Oh.
Now, Soulmate centers on a man who acquires an artificially intelligent android to cope with the loss of the recently deceased wife. The film synopsis explains, in an attempt to create a truly sentient partner, he advertently turns a harmless love bot into a deadly soulmate. Now, the film is described as being in the tradition of a 90s domestic thriller, but with a modern technological twist. Now, Kate Dolan from You Are Not My Mother will direct the film, which Universal has dated for January 2nd of 2026. She also rewrote the original draft written by Raphael Jordan, with the story by James Wan and Ingrid Bichou and Jordan. So that'll be interesting. And I mean, they seem to be creating all these horror franchises, or horror universes, I should say. So it'll be interesting.
It certainly will. I couldn't help but laugh at Harmless Love Bot.
Yeah, that's weird.
Sure they are. Sure, they're just harmless love bots. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. Jordan Peele fans, they're going to have to wait a bit longer for his next. Maybe you can wait with a harmless love bot if it'll help get you through. Apparently, the Oscar winner's fourth film as a director will now debut on October 23rd of 2026. Now, that's a significant jump from the original release date, which was supposed to be Christmas of this year. It was announced, of course, back in March of 2023, 2 months after the WGA strike. That, along with the SAG-AFTRA strike starting in July, brought the production to a standstill for most of the year. That delay led Universal to pull the film from its calendar. Peele announced the new release date over social media. So I know that bums you out, and that is kind of a big jump. You're waiting almost 2 full years to see it debut from when it was supposed to. But Jordan Peele doesn't disappoint. So just sit back, wait. It'll be worth it. I'm sure it will.
For sure, man. For sure. The Exorcist universe will continue to expand thanks to Dr. Sleep and the House of the Fall of Usher visionary Mike Flanagan. Now, Flanagan has signed on to write, direct, and produce what is described as a radical new take on The Exorcist for Blumhouse and Morgan Creek. Now, Universal has set the still untitled feature for March 13th of 2026 theatrical release date. This film marks the fourth collaboration with Flanagan and Blumhouse. He wrote and directed 2013's Oculus, 2016's Hush, and 2016's Ujai, Origin of Evil. Ouija.
Yes.
Sure.
I know, it doesn't Ouija,
man.
it's the Ouija board, but yeah. I mean, okay, like you said, boy, wow, they are expanding these universes, aren't they? These horror universes.
They're cheap, man.
I mean, you're right. They're money makers, no doubt about it. At least they're original. Well, Exorcist isn't, but they say it's a new take. But Megan and that, Soulmate, those are new and original at least, so that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, jumping on over to Sony, and this is absolutely no surprise. Following the success of Bad Boys Ride or Die, Will Smith's going to team up with Sony again, for the next sci-fi thriller, Resistor, based on Daniel Suarez's 2014 novel Influx. Now, the movie hails from Todd Black, Jason Blumenthal, Steve Tisch, and Tony Shaw of Escape Artists, which has been developing the project apparently for years alongside Smith and John Moan through Westbrook. Now, Heather Washington is executive producing, and Dave Wilson is also a producer. The film is in development and currently searching for a director. We'll do it.
Right.
I mean, we can go sci-fi. We can work with Will. Just saying. And we're cheap.
Exactly.
We're cheap.
Yeah.
Come on, Sony.
That's so funny. So I recently, on my way home today, I saw a TikTok of Rob Schneider. That's the guy who's like in a lot of Adam Sandler movies, right?
Yeah. Yep.
He was bashing Will Smith. He's like, Will Smith is a fucking asshole. Like, all this shit about him coming out and trying to revamp his career is all fucking fake. I was just like, God damn, he's taking shots.
Damn.
So I just thought that was interesting. An interesting anecdote. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if more celebrities come out against Will Smith now that, he's trying to come back. But I mean, I gotta say, and I don't know if I told you this, but I watched the Will Smith Hot Ones, and it felt really staged and really awkward. Go after this, go and watch it, dude. It's cringy how awkward it is.
You know, I will now that you said that. And it's interesting to me, though, because I feel like people are done with him personally. They don't give a shit about him anymore. They think he probably, But I saw it, and my theater fucking loved it. And coming out, they said he was great, that it's old Will Smith. So I feel like as far as his career, they're just going to look past the rest of it and go, we fucking love Will Smith's movies, but we don't give a fuck about Will Smith anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like, maybe he can partner with JT because JT's in the same boat. He's been trying to rehab himself and now just kind of like fucked up. Maybe they can do a movie together and just like, it'll be great. Oh my God, that was so funny. Just a quick interjection and we'll move on. Making you just feel old as fuck. The cop that arrested JT was so young, he didn't even know who he was. JT apparently mumbled under his breath, this is going to ruin the tour, the whole tour. And the cop said, excuse me? What tour? And he said, the world tour. He's like, world tour? He's like, Justin Timberlake, I'm on tour right now, my album. Kid had no fucking clue who he was. If that don't make you feel old, because JT ain't even that old. Fuck. Yeah. This kid clueless, man.
I definitely feel like he's past his peak. That's for sure. I mean, I don't think he's the it factor that he was. I mean, this last album was not good. Well, I watched some of the music videos too. They were not good.
You know what? So, I don't know how we spun this off of Will Smith, but he should just transition now into acting. He's a phenomenal actor, and I think if he gets the right roles, you could see a whole second career for him as an actor. Because he's really fucking solid. Not to mention, back before he did all these stupid things and started just fucking up, he was really smart. He took that boy band money and he invested. He had a deal with Levi's and he created his own clothing line. He owns real estate. He has several restaurants. He's an investor on his wife's fashion business. He's part owner of the Memphis Grizzlies. Boy's got money and he's a smart businessman. So stop and just stop. Restart, focus somewhere else, maybe go acting, and just get your shit back together, bro, because you got 2 little girls and you're rocking and rolling. So just my piece of advice. I'm not judging him. We all make mistakes. We all have issues. We've all been there, okay? But you can still turn that shit and go in the right direction again. I'm just saying.
You can. But Sony Pictures Classics has acquired the worldwide rights to Blue Moon.
There you go.
Now, the new film from the Academy Award nominee Richard Linklater, on which we were first to report, and which will be his next effort, after all, with production commencing in Dublin, Ireland this summer. That seems to be the place to shoot.
Right?
Ethan Hawke is set to star in his 9th collaboration with Linklater.
Yeah.
Other aboard for roles including Margaret Qualley, Bobby Cannavale, and Andrew Scott. Blue Moon profiles the final days of Lorenz Hart, and part of his hit songwriting team Rodgers and Hart. The film is set primarily in Sardis restaurant on March 31st of 1943, the opening night of Oklahoma, which marked Rodgers' first collaboration with Oscar Hammerstein II as Hart's replacement. So, nitty-gritty, man, nitty-gritty. Sounds like a real filmmaker's film.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to kind of see the point of view of Hart that was kind of just pushed aside for Hammerstein and like, fuck. Because everybody knows fucking Rodgers and Hammerstein. How many people remember Rodgers and Hart? So I guess we're going to put it out there and let people know. It's going to be interesting. Hey, this was really cool and it kind of sad. I thought I did catch this moment and it was tender. It seemed sincere. So Pat Sajak's final outing as the host of Wheel of Fortune on June 7th apparently reached 11 million viewers. Now that marked the game show's most watched episode since April of 2020 during COVID. That made it the most watched telecast of the week, accounting for all broadcast and cable networks. but excluding sports, of course, because, nothing ever beats sports. It's also achieved the highest household rating of the week with a 6.2. Now, additionally, all 5 of Sajak's final Wheel of Fortune episodes landed in the top 15 broadcasts of the week. Sajak, of course, if you missed it, signed off as Wheel of Fortune star after more than 40 years, handing his hosting duties over to the one, the only Ryan Seacrest, who will now co-host with Vanna White. Good luck trying to fill those shoes, Ryan. I'm just saying, 41 years. People fucking loved Pat, man. You don't stay around 40-something years in TV if people don't love you. I'm just saying.
It's true. It'll be interesting to see how long Vanna lasts. I know she just signed like a new 3-year deal.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But, I mean, with it being completely different, like, what's that repertoire going to be like? So,
yeah.
We'll see. We're heading over to Lionsgate, where Francis Ford Coppola's sci-fi epic Megapolis has finally found a distributor. It's been taking a while, but, I mean, I've heard very mixed reviews about this thing. Lionsgate has signed a deal to distribute the film in theaters in the U.S. and Canada. Now, this one will be released on September 27th. Megalopolis. It's a weird fucking name.
It is.
It's playing in IMAX, but it will likely share screens with Christopher Nolan's 10th anniversary of Interstellar's re-release. It'll also have to relinquish those coveted premium large format screens a week later because of that second Joker film that we were talking about a little bit earlier. That is also filmed with IMAX cameras, and that one lands on October 4th. Now, Coppola has a lot riding on this film, which the 85-year-old Godfather director ended up independently financing for, get this, guys, $120 million. Adam Driver stars in this film as an architect who accidentally destroys a New York City-esque metropolis and works to rebuild it as a sustainable utopia. Now, in the process, he's challenged by a corrupt mayor who is another astound actor himself, Giancarlo Esposito, who wants to stick up to the status quo as the bureaucrat daughter comes between the two men. Now, Audrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, John Voight, and Lawrence Fishburne round out this cast. An amazing cast and an interesting story, so we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Oh, yeah, man. That cast is fucking... Yeah, when you finance...
I mean, $120 million...
of his own money?
It's going to be a bath, though. It's going to be a bath, because that type of film, it's a filmmaker's film, and it's an artsy film.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to make his money back.
No, if he was trying to hope for the same success that George Lucas had financing Star Wars out of his pocket, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's not.
Let's jump over to A24. A24 has apparently released the first trailer for Sam and Max Egger's directorial debut, The Front Room, based on a short story of the same name by Susan Hill. Now, according to the official logline, the film tells the story of a young, newly pregnant couple who is forced to take in an ailing, estranged stepmother. Now, cast members include Brandy Norwood, Catherine Hunter, Neil Huff, and Andrew Burnap. The Eggers brothers serve as co-directors and co-writers along with Susan Hill. So there you go. And yes, that is the Brandy. So we'll see. Apparently, it's going to be interesting, right?
For sure. Well, we're heading over to Amazon MGMs, and I teased this one a little bit earlier this week on our social media. A Spaceballs sequel is in development at Amazon MGM Studios. Now, Josh Gad is set to star and will produce alongside the one and only legendary Mel Brooks. The project is in early stages, and plot details are being kept under wraps. The original 1987 MGM film Spaceballs starred Bill Pullman as Lone Star, John Candy as Barf, Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa, Rick Moranis as Lord Dark Helmet, and Brooks as President Scorb and Yogurt. Now, the space opera is a parody film of both the Star Wars franchise and other popular sci-fi franchises like Star Trek and Alien. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if more original cast members come back. We'll stay on top of it. But my rant earlier wasn't even if this film is going to be good or not. It's just we need new stories. Original IP, I think, and I brought up this to Emily, and I think this is a interesting thought. Maybe they keep going back to original IP because of it's bankable, and after COVID and after the strikes, like they need to regain their money, because I mean we're right now, we are a rough industry to be in. It's hard to make money right now, and after like 4-5 years of just shit, I mean, it kind of makes sense after all the sequels, but then at the same time, like, Hollywood is ran by a bunch of old people. So again, to my point, what's going to happen when all the old people die off? So it's a counterbalance.
Yeah, and I'm just going to put on the record that the biggest money-making films in the last decade were both original properties, Oppenheimer and Barbie. You know, you got to, this industry is all about risk. It's all about taking risks. So if you want to see success again, make the smaller IP that you own, but take the risks. Swing big, because you might get the Oppenheimer. Fuck, yeah, I mean, you got to swing big. You can't just sit back. That's what made Hollywood back in the day. The Warner Brothers and the Louis B. Mayers and the Samuel Goldwyns, they fucking swung big. They took chances. And look, they were always on the verge of bankruptcy until one hit. But you got to make the swing. I don't know, rely on the little smaller films if you want to keep the lights on, but if you fail to take the swings, if you don't take the risks, you're never going to regain the momentum that we saw, 2 decades ago. Yeah, it's just not going to happen unless you swing.
Yeah, they're not taking risk at all.
You know why? Because like you said, not only is it old guys, but it's old tech guys who know nothing about filmmaking. So it's like they don't get it. They don't understand. They're all about the money. They're all about the money. And that's why okay, well, what will be safe? We don't have to pay anybody because we own this. So let's just make it for real cheap and make money. Man, We'll see. Yeah. This one sounds original, so we'll see how this one goes. Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser, which is an interesting team to say the very least, are set to team up on Balls Up, an action comedy that Peter Farrelly from the Farrelly Brothers will direct for Amazon MGM Studios. Now, get this. The film follows 2 American marketing executives who are fired for blowing a client sponsorship opportunity and decide to use their free tickets to a major soccer match. Now, their drunken debauchery leads them to be hunted by every person across the country. I'm just saying, Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser, I just seeing the two of them together, it's not a duo you would expect. So I think this is going to be probably pretty fucking funny, but I'm just saying.
I agree. I mean, we saw the success of Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully it's the same boat. Well, season 4 of The Boys has made a strong debut, according to Amazon. The studio says that the new episodes achieved 21% more viewers in its first 4 days of streaming than season 3's. Now, launch reached the same in the amount of time. Now, Amazon also notes that this is the series' 4th consecutive season of growing, putting it amongst the streamer's 5 biggest TV seasons ever when measuring 4 days of premiere viewership. Now, isolating for solely returning seasons, The Boys Season 4 is Amazon's 2nd biggest, beat only by Reacher Season 2, debut in December. Now, Season 4 of The Boys premiered with 3 episodes on June 13th, with new episodes dropping weekly until the finale on July 18th. Now, showrunner Eric Kripke recently announced that the already greenlit 5th season, of course, will be its last. We announced that last week on the show, but I'm seeing people loving it, man. I'm seeing people loving it.
Yeah, and we've seen Jensen Ackles. We've seen Daddy Winchester. Well, speaking of the 5th season, it looks like the full Supernatural family will all be back. We'll see them all. Supernatural creator recently spoke about his desire to reunite with Padalecki himself for the 5th and final season, and Padalecki has accepted Kripke's invitation to join the boys. Padalecki joining the boys could also mean the door is open for a reunion with his Supernatural co-star Jensen Ackles, who was, of course, in Season 3 as the villain Soldier Boy, and Daddy's been in the current season. So, could we see all of them together? Oh, if we could see a trio of the Winchester guys all back together for that final season, shit would hit the fucking fan. Supernatural fans would flood to that fucker like crazy. crazy to watch that shit. So I'm excited. Let's do it. Come on, Kripke.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, Amazon Prime also released the cast announcement teaser for the upcoming animated series Batman, the Caped Crusader. And with it comes confirmation that Hamish Linklater will be voicing the Dark Knight. Now, the teaser also includes the first listen of the actor's Batman's voice. Now, starring opposite of Linklater in Batman Caped Crusader is Christina Ricci as Catwoman Selena Kyle, Jamie Chung as Harley Quinn / Dr. Harleyan Quinzel, and Diedrich Bader as Harvey Dent / Two-Face. Now, the ensemble cast also includes Minnie Driver and McKenna Grace. I don't know how I feel about his voice yet. I watched it, and I mean, I feel like it's going to be one that I have to get used to, but I mean, overall, I think it's going to be good, but I haven't gotten used to his voice yet.
Yeah, no, and he is in an impossible situation because
because I mean,
this is the darker version of Batman the Animated Series, aka the epitome of what everybody holds the bar to, and Kevin Conroy. This guy's got to step into the shoes of Kevin Conroy, who is the definitive Batman voice. Even Keaton, who created the "I'm Batman," it says that Conroy was like, he's the guy, he's the voice. So how you step into that, I think the best thing he can do, which I'm with you, I'm feeling it out with this little trailer, but I feel like the best thing he can do is just make it his own. Don't try to emulate Conroy. Don't try to emulate Bale or Keaton or any of them. Just make it your own. I'll tell you the one thing I had the problem with in the first thing I saw, because they released some images too, is why the fuck is Alfred fat? Alfred is a badass army guy who can whoop the ass back in the day, who takes care of Bruce. Why is he fucking fat? He should not be fat. I'm just saying, I already have a problem with this. Alfred is not fat, okay? Alfred is a mean, lean fighting machine himself. Fucking sometimes he has to suit up and go save Batman. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's my little gripe, just my tiny gripe about it. Amazon MGM Studios has apparently also given a pilot order to The Night Beast, a horror comedy starring She-Hulk herself, Tatiana Maslany. Now, in The Night Beast, per the official logline, a young mother, unsatisfied with her seemingly perfect suburban life, begins an affair with the boogeyman in her son's club. Wait, what? Okay, she begins an affair with the boogeyman in her son's closet, a surprisingly sexy man called the Night Beast. But this harmless affair she thought to be a figment of her imagination begins to have unexpected consequences as her two worlds increasingly begin to collide in the seductive, dark, comedic tale. Now, Maslany serves as the producer in addition to starring, and if this thing gets ordered to series, which God, I hope it does, The Night Beast will likely stream on Amazon Prime Video. That's what I'm talking about! Boom! Taking a swing! Mama's having an affair with the boogeyman and she thinks it's in her head, but shit is real. That's original. That is a swing. Will it work? I do not know, but I'm all in. Greenlight this shit. Let's make that happen. I'm down. I'm down to watch it.
Definitely original. That's for sure. Well, a live-action TV series based on the cult classic French cartoon Totally Spies is in development at Amazon with Will Ferrell as executive producer. Described as a YA adaptation of the long-running Benjai Kids animated show of the same name, the new Totally Spies will follow the iconic best friends Clover, Alex, and Sam as they navigate saving the world as international spies while trying to survive the up and downs of the first year of college. No writer or talent is currently attached, but I'm definitely excited for this one because if everybody goes back and listens to our Guilty Pleasure shows, our Guilty Pleasure top fives, this show, the animated show, is definitely one that I used to watch a lot growing up. Totally Spies was a great freaking cartoon, so I'm excited to see what they do with it live action. It's a great concept. It's basically Charlie's Angels, but I mean, in like a high school setting or a college setting, so it'll be cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I watched that shit too. I did. It was an entertaining cartoon.
It was.
I'm sorry. If it was on, I watched it. I was just like, this is pretty fucking badass. Okay. I don't give a shit. I'll own it. Let's jump on over to Netflix. This one is no surprise at all, and when we get to our top trending people, you'll see why. Netflix's Hitman was the most watched streaming original of the week by far, according to Luminat's weekly viewership rankings for the week of June 7th through the 13th. Now, the Richard Linklater film, which had a limited run in theaters but was primarily launched as a Netflix original, hit 1.5 billion minutes watched in the first 7 days on the service, translating to 12.6 million estimated viewers when divided by the film's runtime. Yeah, it was fucking good. That's why. It's a great film, and it's a true story. I don't know if people knew that, but it's an actual true story, and it's really cool. It's a really great film. I'm so happy for Glenn Powell because he's killing it, man. And his range is all over the place. So I love that he's taking on all these characters and these different things. So keep going, buddy.
Right? Keep going. And something that just keeps on going. On the TV side, Bridgerton rose back up to the top season 3 of Shonda Rhimes' Netflix drama-led chart from its debut week until last week, when it was beat out by Eric, Benedict Cumberbatch's limited series. But the release of the season's final 4 episodes aided it back to number 1 position with 589 million minutes watched in their first day of availability.
Wow.
And it makes sense. A lot of juicy drama, that's for sure. I've watched both of these, Bridgerton and Eric. They're both phenomenal. So be sure to check those out.
Hell yeah. This one I'm excited about too. Netflix will drop acclaimed filmmaker Aziz Jacobs' masterful His Three Daughters, which is apparently a captivating family drama featuring, and this is why I'm excited about it, Natasha Lyonne, Carrie Coon, and Elizabeth Olsen in the fall movie calendar. So, centering on 3 estranged sisters reuniting to care for their ailing father, the film will open in select theaters on September 6th before hitting Netflix globally on September 20th. Now, strategically, the release of His Three Daughters is brilliantly timed because it premieres just after the conclusion of the Telluride Film Festival and a week before Toronto, providing the perfect counter-programming for cinephiles. Now, it opens on the same day as the much-awaited comedic supernatural sequel Beetlejuice, offering a poignant alternative for moviegoers. That's a good way to look at it, an alternative. I think it's going to get whooped by Beetlejuice, but this is like what you said, this is a filmmaker's film, clearly, with phenomenal actresses. So I will see Beetlejuice because fuck yeah. Keaton! But I will also see this one because I'm that guy. I love filmmaker films and fucking tent poles. I mean, it's just, why can't you love both? Why can't you love both? Just saying.
That's the thing. Well, Pimp My Ride is back.
What?
Well, kind of. Actor and comedian Chris Reed is set to host Netflix's new motor makeover series, Resurrected Rides, which will premiere on July 24th. Now, the series will feature 8 40-minute episodes. Now, Rick Hurwitz, who co-created Pimp My Ride, which aired on MTV from 2004 to 2007, will serve as executive producer on this series. Now, of course, per the official logline, Resurrected Rides is an entirely new motor makeover series for the modern age, with Reed and his team of mechanics helping deserving owners transform their beloved beaters into road-worthy masterpieces. Man, oh man, that sounds very exciting and it's going to be very fun. But again, we just need better names for all this shit. Titles for movies and television shows have been a very C, just a regular C, not a C minus, not a C plus, just a very mid-level fucking shit recently.
Yeah.
So we just need better names.
Yeah. It's Resurrected Rides. What?
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't scream like Pimp My Ride did. It just doesn't. I'm with you. All right. Let's jump on over to Apple, where Brad Pitt's upcoming feature about Formula One racing has apparently gotten a release date from Apple Original Films. The untitled movie will race into cinemas on June 27th, 2025. Now, Apple is partnering with Warner Brothers Pictures on a theatrical rollout. The tech giant has been releasing more of its movies in theaters before debuting them on streaming service Apple TV+. Now, the Formula One movie will be shown in IMAX theaters, which could become the de facto format for consumers interested in a movie that will be marketed heavily on its racing sequences. That makes sense. Now, the June 2025 release date will pit the film against the opening of what we told you earlier, the Megan sequel, Megan 2.0, and it will be the next big challenger of the weekend, the debut of Jurassic World 4, which will feature Jonathan Bailey, Scarlett Johansson, and Mahershala Ali. So that's going to be tough. I mean, I think that franchise still got a lot of juice in it. And now that you got Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson, come on. It's going to be tough for Brad Pitt.
I know, it's very interesting because that last one was not good. But, I mean, with a whole new cast, I feel like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
revamp it a little bit more. So it'll be interesting. That's for sure. Well, Jennifer Lawrence will get to feud, day drink, and access oodies of disposable income, at least until a body turns up. In The Wives, a murder mystery that is in the same vein of Real Housewives. Now, Apple Original Films acquired the project in what is being described as a highly competitive bidding situation. Now, Lawrence will produce the film alongside Justine Corrucci for her company, Excellent Cadaver. Now, the film is produced by Apple Studios and A24, which previously worked together on Causeway, a 2022 drama that Lawrence starred in. Be sure to go check that one out. That one's really good as well. Yeah. It is currently in development, so no word on a final pilot or when it may shoot, but it's exciting just to know that it is out there. So we will let you know what happens next.
Excellent. And Excellent Cadaver. See?
Yeah.
Maybe they should just let the stars put the titles of the movies and the TV shows because they have kick-ass names for their production companies. I'm just saying. Go to the stars and say, give this thing a title. We need your help. Apple TV Plus also released a trailer for Lady in the Lake, the upcoming limited series based on Laura Lippman's novel of the same name. The thriller series follows the convergence of two women's lives after the Thanksgiving 1996 disappearance of a young girl in Baltimore. Now, Jewish housewife Maddie Schwartz, played by Natalie Portman, seeks to shed a secret past and reinvent herself as an investigative journalist, while Cleo Johnson, played by Moses Ingram, a mother navigating the political underbelly of Black Baltimore while struggling to provide for her family. When Maddie becomes fixated on Cleo's mystifying death, everyone around them is suddenly put in danger. The cast also includes Ian Noel, Brett Gelman, Byron Bowers, Noah Jupe, Josiah Cross, Mickey Madison, Pruitt Taylor, Vince and Dylan Arnold. Now, this bad boy is set to premiere with 2 episodes on July 19th. So, yeah.
All good things, man. All good things. Now, and before heading into our top 5 segment, since we don't have a guest this week, are you watching any new shows? Have you tried anything else out
so
I
was just going to say this on the back end of Apple here. We talk about this a lot, how Apple has the least amount of things, but probably the best things because it's all so fucking good. I'm watching Presumed Innocent. And if you guys remember, talking on this very show, I said I was a bit skeptical because I was a huge fan of the original film with Harrison Ford. And I'm like, do we need to remake this and do we need to make it a series? But fuck yeah, apparently we do because the series is great. It's really riveting. It's so dramatic and it's so intense. And the acting is stellar. Gyllenhaal is just slaying it. But I'm going to tell you who the star of this series is, who's just week in, week out on the episodes that I've watched so far, stealing the show, Ruth Negga. Holy shit, playing his wife and having to go through the shit that she's having to go through. I don't want to give too much away because it's a kind of twist-turn plot thing and I don't want to give away spoilers. But her character and the shit that she has to go through, she is bringing it. There's been a couple of scenes where she's not speaking a fucking word and it's just her face. Just the what the fuck? And she is slaying it. How this woman, I know she was nominated back in the day for Loving, and she's been on all kinds. She is a phenomenal actor, and she should be getting Emmys flying everywhere for this because she's just killing it. So if you haven't checked it out yet, Presumed Innocent on Apple. It's fucking awesome. It's great. It's great.
Fantastic. Yeah. And
How about you?
Like I just mentioned, I was watching Eric. That one is really good. Benedict Cumberbatch has freaking great. And it's kind of like a whirlwind ride of like his son that gets kidnapped and, you know, just trying to find him, and goes through alcoholism and all these things, and just shows that, you know, your ideal of life may not always turn out the way you thought it would, and that's okay. And being okay with that.
Yeah.
I think that was a very good message that it had at the end. I finished Tires, that new comedy on Netflix as well, with Shane Gillis. That shit was hilarious. You know, we just need more half-hour comedies that you can just throw on, and just easy digestible content. But I gotta say, the one that I'm watching the most, and it's kind of funny, Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates. I've been fucking killing it, or been fucking loving it, on Discovery. Basically, just this, he's an architect who basically wants to be Indiana Jones, and he's just this big, goofy, gotta love human being that goes to all of these different historical places and tries to uncover new things about them. We started watching him during the cruise because they had him on one of the channels, and basically it was right before D-Day, and they were going through the ocean trying to find downed planes that had never been discovered. So he does a lot of that, trying to discover things that haven't been uncovered yet. And ones I was watching the other day were Egyptian tombs, where he was going through tombs and like literally, I didn't know this, but Sudan, which is right next to Egypt, they adopted a lot of the Egyptian culture. So they also built pyramids, and they actually have one of the largest pyramid and sphinx sites in history. But no one knows that because of fucking Egypt being right next door, and that's all you think about when you think like pyramids and things like that. But it's just really cool. It's very informative, very historic. But yeah, I'm loving it, man. It's really good.
Well, and I'll tell you another thing that I've been doing, and I wanted to look because I want to make sure I get the names right. I've been I don't know why, just for some reason, I've on Hulu, they have the films we think you might like. And I've just been finding hidden gems, bro. I've just been clicking on them. Like I recently watched the one here. It's called Which Brings Me to You with Lucy Hale and Nat Wolff. I loved it. It's just a typical romantic comedy, but they're both great in it. It's a really original take on the story. They hook up at a wedding, and before they sleep together, they're basically telling each other about the disastrous love lives that they've had. Kind of like, it was really interesting. And another one that I watched was The Rewrite with Hugh Grant and Marissa Tomei, which was fantastic. And then the one I just watched, and I want to make sure I get the name right. I can't remember why I can't think of the name of this thing, but it's brilliant. If I can get the thing to pop up, because I want people to watch it because it was really good. Why are you not popping up?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I just rewatched Serendipity the other day. Forgot how great of a film that is.
Yeah.
Great storytelling, like true love, meant to be true love. John Cusack and the other actress, that's who you just said too, Marissa Tomei? Yep,
Marissa Tomei. Why can I not find this thing? It's there it is. She Came to Me with Anne Hathaway and Peter Dinklage. It's fantastic, and somehow it just missed me. I never even heard of it, but I'm just loving clicking on these things and going, where the fuck? How did we miss these movies? Because they've all been really good. So check that one out. That one's a weird one. He's like this playwright, and I guess he's in a slump, and so Anne Hathaway's his wife, and she's also like a therapist, but she's kind of like on him, and I guess he like runs into Marissa Tomei's character. She's like a tugboat captain, and she's scary as fuck, but he ends up like banging her, and it gives him this inspiration, and he writes this play about her, and then she realizes it's about her, kind of a thing. It's a really weird fucking film, but it's really good, and the three of them are like oddly great together. I don't know, man. Just so there you go. Here they're just throwing some stuff out there that we've kind of been watching, but go check any and all of that out. I think you guys will like it. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Yeah, She Came to Me, change up a few letters and switch some stuff around. That's a completely different movie. We're super excited about this week's top 5 because it is top 5 bad films that we actually love. I mean, we have specific like memories or different things like that. So it's gonna be interesting. And I know you hate my number 5 like with a passion. It's just so funny. I think I like it so much because I watched it when I was a kid. Number 5 for me goes to Batman and Robin, George Clooney. I think I like it so much because I watched it as a kid, and it's very cartoony and it's very animated. And I actually like the colors were crazy as a kid. You know, you like those bright and vibrant colors. I wasn't paying attention to that man's nipples on the bat suit. I was just like paying attention to freaking like honestly Poison Ivy. Damn. But that whole thing, like I like watching it because I mean I don't watch it now because it's hard, but I like watching it back then because like I said, it was just entertaining in the most exaggerated way. But it's one of those, again, a few of these on my list I can't watch now because it is bad. But that I had to put that on there because I have specific memories and childhood, repertoire with it. So yeah, number 5 for me, Batman and Robin.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
my Batman is dark. He's always been dark. He's not neon. He's not nippled up. He's just like I can't.
I didn't say he was my Batman.
I don't know what went wrong with Joel Schumacher. What the fuck? That guy, you look at Lost Boys, and I was so in. I'm like, if Tim Burton is leaving, Joel Schumacher's our guy. You watch Lost Boys, and you think he understands this. He understands this dark, creepy bat shit, right? You watch From Dusk Till Dawn, and you're like, okay, yeah, George Clooney, he gets it too. And then here we come. And I'm like, what the fuck, Joel Schumacher? What the fuck did you just do? I don't know, bro. I'm not there with you. I can't get there with you, but it's okay. My number 5, and I want to clarify this. It's deemed a bad movie, but I love it. I legitimately think it's a great movie. In fact, it may be my favorite in the Star Trek franchise. I'm talking about Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. This is the one where they come back to the 80s, in San Francisco in the 80s, to save a pair of humpback whales and bring them back to their timeline. Because apparently this alien invasion comes every so often to destroy Earth. And if they don't hear from the humpback whales, they destroy the Earth. That's what's going to happen. Well, the humpback whales had become extinct, and that shit was coming, and they were putting out the signal, waiting to hear the response from the whales, and there were no fucking whales to respond. So my boy, Kirk, he's like, fuck that, let's go get some whales, and he fucking goes back, and he gets... But I love this because it's right there in the 80s where the technology is starting to come. Where you're right on the cusp of cell phones. You're on the cusp of being able to speak, to tell your computer to do something by voice control, by doing these things. You're right there on the cusp, but not yet. And when they get back there, of course, they already have all that stuff. So to see them interacting with it when it's not quite there is fucking hilarious. Scotty's saying, computer, and he's waiting and nothing's happening, and he's like, oh, keyboard, how primitive, and he's got to do the keyboard and shit, and just, or not knowing how to curse. One of my favorite things of the whole thing is when Kirk's about to get hit, and he walks out in front of a car, and the guy's like, dumbass, and he's like, double dumbass on you, like no clue what it means or how to respond to it, and... fucking Spock walking around like a fucking 70s hippie with this Vulcan robe and the headband to cover his ears and shit. It's just fucking funny. The whole thing is kind of a laughable. It's not some major epic, oh my god, there's Klingons and there's these big battle scenes or what. It's just fun. They go back, they're trying to save a couple fucking whales, and they're just interacting in the 80s. I thought it was funny. And the voyage home, it was so poignant because me and my best friend at the time, Derek, who's still, he's a brother now. I don't refer to him as a best friend anymore. He's my brother, literally. We walked to go see this. And you don't understand. We walked at least 10 miles to the theater. and it started to downpour. So it was a voyage to get there. We were fucking drenched. And when I say drenched, I mean fucking drenched. Squeaking shoes because they were filled with water. And we sat in that fucking freezing theater and watched that whole fucking thing before we had to walk our asses back home. So it's just a memory for me. And it's every time it's on, I stop and watch it. I do. So my number 5, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, and be nice to humpback fucking whales, okay? They fucking save the universe. Humpback fucking whales.
That's really the takeaway from it. Just be nice. That's it. Number 4 for me goes to Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Last Action Hero. This one I still go back and watch, but it's hard. His acting wasn't necessarily top tier then. I mean, did it ever really get there? But it's fine. I still love Arnold. It's really cool because this kid gets sucked into a movie, basically a movie universe, and to be able to, he's like the Jack Reacher. He's like the badass cop that solves all of these crimes and all this stuff. And like, this is the definition of like a tentpole action movie. Explosions, fight sequences, gunfire, all the things. So this is textbook tentpole explosions craziness. But I loved it though. It was one of those that I always used to watch with my grandpa. He was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. So that one, Commando, and a couple of others I probably shouldn't have been watching. Total Recall, Third Titty. And I mean, it was just a fun time. So it goes back to those memories. But yeah, number 4 for me, Last Action Hero.
There you go. The Happening. My number 4 is The Happening, okay? And I'm just going to tell you why I love watching this movie. And it has nothing to do with the movie itself, because the movie straight up fucking sucks. It was a total miss by M. Night Shyamalan. It was a total miss for Mark Wahlberg. But I enjoy watching this movie every time it's on, because every time it's on, I find another mistake. I watch it strictly as a filmmaker now. When I saw it in the theaters, guys, this is in theater, big screen. You could see the boom mic in a shot, okay? From that moment on, then I was like, oh. So now every time I watch this film, I see something else. And I'm like, what is happening on the set of this film where none of this shit is being seen? How did this ever get past editing to where this is okay? This is the worst continuity film ever in the history of ever. It's like, that's why I enjoy it so much. So my number 4 is The Happening, and I watch it solely because I like finding the fucking mistakes. It's so bad, but it's enjoyable if you like finding mistakes, and thank you for the continuity people and the amazing job you guys do. That's all I'm gonna say. And whoever was on that one, maybe you're not in continuity anymore. Let's hope
probably not in the industry anymore. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. But I mean, let's be honest. M. Night Shyamalan never really hits. That's
I mean,
I can't. Number 3 for me goes to Joe Dirt. This one is a cult classic, but I mean, it's bad. You go back and watch it, and the comedy is so cringy. Like, everything about it is just so fucking stupid. I mean, I really feel like there are people like this in the world who are just hillbilly redneck, just going through life like all this shit. I mean, what the fucking, he had an asteroid that turned out to just be fucking a whole big ball of shit.
Yeah.
And then he had the rocket that he thought was a big bomb that was a tube of shit. And then he couldn't get as hard because he found out the girl that he was banging wasn't his sister.
Yeah.
So he had to go back to thinking it was his sister.
Yeah.
This is the definition of a hillbilly classic, I guess you could say. It's definitely, David Spade portrays the role perfectly. I think maybe one of his biggest roles, or most memorable roles. But yeah, man, Joe Dirt, it's not good, but it's not bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not good.
Yeah.
So there it is.
Okay. My number 3, again, I refer to it as the poor man's Olympus Has Fallen. My number 3 is White House Down. It's basically a straight up ripoff of Olympus Has Fallen, starring Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum. But it's It's bad. It's nowhere near the quality of Gerard Butler's movies. It's just not. But the dynamic between Channing and Jamie is hilarious. And so it's worth the watch for that. It's a bad movie. It's a bad attempt to basically knock off Olympus Has Fallen. But their dynamic makes it worth watching every time I see it on. I'm just like, no, it's funny as shit. I'm going to keep watching this, right? So is it a good movie? No. If you want to watch a movie about, that kind of shit, watch Olympus Has Fallen. But if you want to watch an entertaining movie about trying to save the president after spies take down the White House, watch that one, White House Down, because it's bad, but it's entertaining. My number 3, White House Down.
You actually sparked a different one for me that I didn't put on the list, but it's not good, but it's not, I think, yeah. So, Triple X, State of the Union. This is the one with Ice Cube.
Yes.
People did not like this one at all. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I was a kid when I watched it, so I really did. But I mean, you had Ice Cube, William Dafoe, Samuel L. Jackson. I thought it was good. But now when I go back and watch it, I'm like,
yeah, no.
My original number 2, though, goes to Van Helsing. People hate on this movie. I know,
why?
And I mean, it's actually really good.
It is.
And I mean, it's right before CGI really got good. And I think that's probably why. But I mean, I think the writing is pretty decent. And I mean, the CGI is the best that it can be. And I mean, I love Hugh Jackman, and I mean, let's be honest about it. The 3 vampire ladies are hot as shit. So I just, I love that medieval lore, though, hunting monsters type of thing. So Van Helsing was honestly really good. I remember going to go see this in theaters. Probably what I shouldn't have, but my dad was always taking me to rated R shit when I shouldn't have. But it was really good. I liked it. Still, I'll watch this today and have no problems with it.
Yeah.
I wish they would do another one for sure. But number 2 for me, Van Helsing.
Well, there you go. Yeah, hot as shit. My number 2, and I'm just gonna say it straight out. It's bad. It is a bad movie. Okay, it shouldn't have been. It had Richard Pryor. The premise was good. It seemed like it was gonna be a good one. It was not. It just failed on every level, except for one scene. And this is why I will relentlessly watch it every time it is on, and I will sit through the total shit show that it is until this scene. I'm talking about Superman 3. And anybody who's with me on this knows the scene that I'm talking about is when the crazy tar fucked up kryptonite fucks with Clark. And it's basically the first kind of sort of time we see a Bizarro-esque. But anyway, this dark, nasty Superman comes out of basically Clark. And they have this epic battle scene of Clark Kent fighting this nasty, drunk, dirty, pissed off Superman. And the battle back and forth with them. The scene where he's initially the bad Superman just sitting at the bar and he's fucking pissed and he's just using his powers, like his super strength, and fucking plucking peanuts and smashing bottles with the peanuts. And when somebody says something to him, he burns the fucking mirror with the heat vision and shit. And he's like fucking pissed off. And then, Clark comes out and they fucking have this epic battle scene in like this junkyard or whatever. But that scene is why I love this movie. I will watch it throughout just to get to that scene. Now, I'll be honest, after that scene's over, I'm fucking done. I'm like, move on to whatever else I want to watch. But I will sit there and wait for that scene to come because I love that scene. And had they done the whole film with the effort that they put into that scene, Superman 3 would have worked, I think. But they didn't, and we ended up with Superman 4, The Quest of Peace, and the end of Christopher Reeve as Superman. Because it just continuously went downhill after that. But anyway, check out, and I don't know, if you don't want to watch the film, because like I said, it's really fucking bad, YouTube the fight scene or something, because it's awesome. But I wouldn't recommend sitting through the whole film. It's just Superman 3, my number 2.
That's funny. Number 1 for me is Too Fast, Too Furious. Oh my goodness. I think I really enjoyed this one because honestly, Paul Walker is I think should have been the face of the franchise. Like, this man is a badass, and I felt like his dynamic with Tyrese and Ludacris was like better than Paul Walker and Vin Diesel's dynamic. And I just feel like, if they would have kept Paul Walker at the helm of this franchise, it just would have turned out better, and it would have been so polarizing. And I mean, there's this scene at the very end where they're trying to evade the police, and all of these cars just come out of the garage, and it was such an epic scene. And I mean, I could only imagine what that was like to shoot being a filmmaker now. So I mean, yeah, it was just freaking epic. Number one for me is Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and pardon the pun, but yeah, after Paul Walker, this franchise kind of fell off the tracks. It just did. Yeah. It just was not the same. I'm right there with you. Okay, I know I'm going to get heat for this, and I know it's coming, and light up the comments underneath. I don't give a shit. Let me hear it. My number one, and I'm going to say it, it's a god-awful movie. It is so bad. There was no CGI. This thing is either a puppet or somebody in a suit or animatronic, like robot thing. I don't even know how they fucking did it. But, and here's the thing. Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. You think, fuck yeah, this is going to be great. This can't miss. And yet, it's so fucking bad. I am talking about Howard the Duck. Yes, Marvel's beloved Howard the Duck. Whew. This thing, if you are a true aficionado, a true comic book nerd, a true Marvel Excelsior, yeah, it fucking sucked. But if you are a product of the 80s, born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, and you are an 80s person, you fucking love this movie as much as I do, and there's one reason. And her name is Leah Thompson. That's all you have to say. I fucking love Leah Thompson. Everybody did in the 80s. I still kind of love her now, but she is just beautiful in this film. Hot as shit. Fucking just bouncing around in her little panties with this duck. But whatever. It's Leah Thompson in little panties with like her duck. And I watch it. I fucking love this movie. It just brings back everything I loved about the 80s. And typically after I watch Howard the Duck, I'll go watch Back to the Future. I'll go and watch all the Leah Thompson movies from the 80s because it makes you want to. So bring the hate. I don't care. Yes, I know it's a fucking awful movie. I know it sucks, but I still like it because I'm just being honest. I am speaking why I like it, and I will hold to it. Thank you, Leah Thompson, for being so fucking awesome in the 80s and for just making people watch this film anyway. Howard the Duck. There it is, my number one.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we want to know, what is your favorite bad film that you just love watching? Please be sure to comment below in the YouTube comment section. Add us on X or Threads or Instagram, any of the places. We love the
any of the places.
Please be sure to do so. All right, now we're heading over to the box office recap. Of course, like we said earlier in the industry news, Inside Out 2 came in at number one with $154.2 million. Bad Boys 2 still hung in at number 2 with Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys Ride or Die with $33.8 million. That's pretty good for a second weekend. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes came in at number 3 with $5.5 million. Number 4 was Garfield the Movie with $4.8. And number 5 was If with $3.6. Now, movies that are coming out this weekend are The Bike Riders, The Exorcism, Predator, The 12 Final Days, Blackwater Lane, and American Teen. And of course, movies you can still go see right now in select theaters near you: The Fall Guy, The Watcher, Ferozia, The Mad Max Saga, The Strangers, Chapter 1, and Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire. They're saying Bike Riders is only going to make about 8 to 10 million, which is sad, but everybody should go see it. I know I am going to try to before the next show. But I mean, Austin Butler and Tom Hardy, man. Norman Reedus is in it too. I mean, come on, go see it.
I think unfortunately it's just a victim of what nobody saw coming, which is Inside Out 2, because Inside Out 2 is going to have another massive weekend, it looks like. So it's just a victim. It's probably has nothing to do with whether the film is good or not. It's just like, who knew Inside Out 2 was going to fucking hit like it is. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, I hope people find it, because like you said, it's fucking great cast and it's a great story. So hopefully people find it, man.
Exactly, because I've been hearing people say, you know, a lot of people out there probably, but it's two different demographics. What does that mean? Well, it's like the dads that would go see Bike Riders have to go see Inside Out too. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's an unfortunate event. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, IMDb Pro's top trending segment only makes sense. The top trending movie was Hitman. The top trending TV show was The Boys. And the top trending star was Adria Arjona, who I'm guessing was in The Hitman.
Yeah, and she's fucking brilliant in it. She's so good. I mean, her and Glenn Powell I highly recommend, if you guys haven't checked it out, check out that film. It's fucking, they're both brilliant in it.
For sure, man, for sure. Well, we have to thank you guys out there so much for tuning in to episode 262 of ITCAF Podcast. Thank you again. Oh, my goodness. Be sure to follow us on social media. The company is at Crazy Ant Media. The podcast is at ITCAF Podcast. Our film is at The LP Film. And then, of course, our mental health podcast. Everything's okay.
Yes.
Be sure to check that out. New episode coming out next Wednesday. I'm going to be talking all about the honeymoon. I gave you a rundown of the pre-wedding jitters, but now I talk a little bit about the honeymoon and the anxieties of a cruise. Completely different, so be sure to check that out. And, of course, be sure to follow us both personally on social media. Myself at JLoganAustin and
at Crazy Ant CEO.
There it is, man. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and so much more. If you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media and the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where you can start rocking the latest and greatest Crazy Ant Media gear. We have anything for anyone.
We do.
Be sure to check that out. I think the winner of this industry news was a Linklater. I mean, whether that be one Linklater, another Linklater, they are killing it in the entertainment industry right now. So kudos to them. I will say that. But, I mean, you know, it was a good show. I like that we were able to dive into the Kevin Costner stuff because, you know, at first we were like, what the fuck? Fuck Costner. But now hearing more of his side, like, I honestly do think the media was kind of pitting everybody against him.
I think so, yeah.
So it's nice to finally hear his side of things. And it's also a shame, though, because he's out there promoting his project and he also has to address this. So it just, like, nobody addresses, like, a bad memo that went out at an office, but since he's in the limelight in the entertainment industry, he has to do this type of stuff, which is unfortunate.
I will say, though, I'm happy that he finally came out and said that the series changed him. And that he's fortunate for it, because, guys, I don't know if you remember or are aware, but, and this is nothing against Costner, but it's just true. It happens to everybody in this industry. His level dropped. People didn't want to see him. You know, you can only ride the top for so long before you start to fall, and it happens to everybody. And this show rebounded him, put him back on the map, and made everybody remember why they loved him. And that show, I'm just going to be honest with it, is the only reason any studio greenlit his project, his passion project, Horizon. So it was nice to finally see him say, I know what this show did for me. It was nice to see that. And I think, for him to acknowledge that was a nice kudos to Taylor. And to Paramount, saying, hey, thank you. I wish we could have had this thing work out, kind of a thing. But I do appreciate what you did for me and what I did for you for this show, kind of a thing. So, I liked it. I agree with you. I was also excited about the Penguin. I'm so stoked about that universe that Matt Reeves is building. But I got to tell you, my winner for this one is Sex with the Boogeyman. That is an original concept I was not expecting. Let's have a woman have an affair with the boogeyman in the closet. Sure. And kudos to Amazon for taking that swing. I really, really hope that works out.
For sure, for sure. I'm
I
also
don't
really
know
excited
why.
about this. Yeah, I'm excited about this Game of Thrones spinoff
Yeah,
too. I mean,
yeah.
I just love that it's continuing to move forward, and I'm also excited for you to start watching House of the Dragon.
No, I'm pumped. I'm a huge fan of Olivia Cook. And I've
Yeah.
liked everything I've ever seen her in, which is really what keeps drawing. Every time I'm going to Max for something else, I see it, and I'm like, no, I love Olivia. I want to jump on this. But I was hesitant until you answered my question for me. So I think I am going to jump on this bad boy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, because polar dividing whose side you're on. You have to pick a side. So it's interesting.
I'm picking Olivia's.
You'll see.
Whatever
I don't
character
know,
she
man.
is, I'm picking her. I'm just sorry.
I
I'm
don't
going
know,
for
man.
it.
Hightower is weird. You'll see. But anyway, of course, the only side that really matters, the one, the only,
Oprah!